So the Dodgers now looking at the back end. What's up, everybody? I'm Jim Rodriguez, and welcome to the Thursday here on Dodgers Latest. Almost there, little baby Friday for you as the Dodgers finish up their GM meetings in Las Vegas. Today we get the big award, the MVPs. It's probably going to be Shohei. It should be Shohei. Yoshinobu Yamamoto finishing third in the Cy Young Award yesterday. Paul Skeens unanimous for the Pirates, and Tarek Skubal back-to-back for the Tigers. Boy, it seemed to be back-to-back has been the trend. Dodgers go back-to-back. Managers of the Year were back-to-back. And now the AL Cy Young and Tarek Skubal is back-to-back. And, of course, Paul Skeens was Rookie of the Year last year. Unanimous Cy Young. And tonight, I think we're going to go Shohei back-to-back as MVP. Going to be the first guy, the only guy other than Barry Bonds to have 4 MVPs. All right, you can always hit me up right there, J-Rod Show, X and Instagram. And, of course, the community continues to grow thanks to you here on Dodgers Latest. Like, subscribe, share, tell a friend, hit those thumbs up button as we continue to grow. Can't help it if you don't subscribe, man. You got to make it happen. We continue to grow. We're only growing here on Dodgers Latest, thanks to you. All right, so the winter meetings or the GM meetings continue at the Cosmopolitan in Vegas, one of my favorite places. Ever been to that chandelier bar? You go up the stairs, it's like a chandelier, floor by floor. That place is hot. And one of the guys that's on the Dodgers' radar is reliever, closer, Devin Williams of the Yankees, formerly of the Brewers. And kind of like Stephen Kwan, Devin Williams and the Dodgers have danced before. There was talk that the Brewers were going to trade Devin Williams to the Dodgers. They ended up trading him to the Yankees, and it was a disaster for Devin Williams. Almost Tanner Scott-esque. The kind of year he had for the Yankees. This is a guy who had 36 saves and an ERA of 1.53 in 23, had an ERA of 1.25 in 24, but lost his way in the Bronx. Look at that, 4-6 ERA, 4.79, 18 saves. He did pitch well down the stretch. Last 19 appearances, got that ERA in those 19 appearances to be about 2.5. But is Devin Williams a guy? I don't think you bring him in as the closer. I think you're looking at a high leverage, right-handed arm, 7th inning guy, 8th inning guy. Try to get that train of Williams, Trinan, and Tanner Scott. But you have a guy who has been a closer, has been an all-star closer, has done it at the highest levels. Maybe that's a situation. My concern about Devin Williams is this. This bullpen was awful last year, Dodger bullpen. To bring another guy who's trying to find it, trying to figure it out, and if Tanner Scott struggles, and if Devin Williams hasn't figured it out, it'd be easy to say, yeah, if Tanner Scott struggles, boom, Devin Williams, you put him into the closer role. But what if he struggles? And now you have Blake Trinan. So the Dodgers, it's a situation where how much money are the Dodgers willing to invest, and how many years are they willing to invest in Devin Williams? If he's right, oh my God, I'll take him any day, right? Make him the closer, and you do sort of a Trinan 7th inning, Tanner Scott 8th inning, and Devin Williams 9th inning. I truly think Tanner Scott, because he's a lefty, I think he's more of your leverage 7th, 8th inning guy more than a closer, to be honest with you. I just think there's so many right-handed batters to be a left-handed closer. To me, I would like to see him more as a specialist 7th inning, but you've paid him so much money, you've got to use him, and I would almost like to see Devin Williams slide into that closer spot. But he's got to be right. To have two guys that are struggling, that would be a catastrophe, and that, I think, is the main goal of the Dodgers right there. I mean, when you look at the bullpen was, it was agita, right? It was awful. 4.27 ERA. That's 21st in the big leagues. 27 blown saves. And they had an ERA of over 6 in the playoffs. And this team won the World Series. Now, you can argue that the Red Series was offense, the Phillies and Brewers series was starting pitching, and then the World Series was a combination of everything. That's how they got to the finish line and won it all. But the fact remains that bullpen was bad. And so how do you fix it? And who are the guys that fix it? Well, let's start in the back end. Obviously, we have Tanner Scott and Blake Trinan. They're not going anywhere. They're under contract, and they just re-signed Alex Vesia, the lefty. So those three guys are your back end guys: Tanner Scott, Blake Trinan, and Alex Vesia. Then you start thinking about what lefties are you going to do? Well, Anthony Banda. He was hit or miss, right? But he can't go anywhere. He's arbitration eligible. Same thing with Jack Dreyer. There's another guy that pitched really well, was on that World Series roster. So, how many lefties do you put on there? Where do you plug them in? And then the right-handed leverage guys, well, they got Brock Stewart, remember, from the Twins, and he ended up hurting himself. Only played 4 games for the Dodgers. He can't go anywhere because he's arbitration eligible. Again, Ben Kasparias was... First half of the season was amazing for the Dodgers. Then he kind of dropped off. So where does he fit into the role? Brusdar Graterol. There's a guy that I've said could be a closer. He's got that good stuff, but he can't just stay healthy. You got to wonder mentally, is he good, because he's so emotional, he's so hyped up. Remember he almost got into a fight in the division series with the Padres. Is he a closer type guy, or is he one of these guys that's a 6th inning guy? We know he's got electric stuff. And then you've got the fringe guys, right? Will Klein, who pitched so well in the World Series. And you got Landon Knack, who was a spot starter. And, of course, the guy that I think everyone's focusing in on is Evan Phillips, who had Tommy John surgery. He should be back toward the middle, late of 26. So he could sort of fit that closer role. I mean, obviously, not all these guys are going to be on the roster. I think at one point during the season they will be, because I think what we have seen is that's how it works in a rotation. Your bullpen starting combination, you're going to use 15, 17 guys through the course of the season. You're going to use 6, 7, 8 starters through the course of the season, and then you plug and play. Now, we know who the top 4 starting pitchers are, right? It's Yamamoto, it's Snell, it's Ohtani, it's Glasnow. Who's that 5th guy now that Kershaw's retired? 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th starting pitcher. Well, Bobby Miller is still in the mix. Remember Bobby Miller? There was even thought about making Bobby Miller a closer. He's still floating around out there. Justin Robleski pitched great in the postseason. Emmett Sheehan. I think Justin and Sheehan, those are your... maybe not your 5th starter, but those are your 7th, 8th starters. And then you got, of course, Roki Sasaki. Where does he fit in? I mean, I would think he's the 5th starter, but the success that he had in the bullpen, where does he fix it? Again, it almost seems like just kind of like the Dodgers have like the Kike Hernandezes, the Swiss Army knives that can play various positions, the Tommy Edmonds. That's sort of what they do with the pitching, right? You can pitch, you can start, you can be a long man, you could be a middle guy, you could be a closer. So Roki Sasaki, I think he fits as the 5th starter. But again, that option is there. And then you got the 2 kids that were waiting to come back from injury, and Gavin Stone, who should be ready to go in 26 after having shoulder surgery, and River Ryan, who had Tommy John surgery in August of 24. Remember we said it takes it's 12 to 18 months to get back, but it really takes about 2 years to be ready and to be at where you were before you got hurt. So River Ryan, maybe toward the end of 26, maybe we'll start seeing him as a long guy, as that 8th, 9th starting pitcher. So the Dodgers have plenty of options. It's just working out, what are you going to do with it? I mean, I think at the end of the day, a 4.27 ERA and 27 blown saves, it is remarkable. It is amazing that this team not only won the division, but went all the way to win the World Series. It just goes to show you how great the Yamamotos, the Blake Snells, the Glasnows, and the Ohtanis were as starting pitchers to get him over the hump, because that bullpen was atrocious. So I think Tanner Scott's still your closer. I think that's sort of what they want. Pete Fairbanks is out there now that the Rays did not pick up his option, so he's available as a free agent. But Devin Williams seems to be also a guy the Dodgers are interested in. He's 32, right-hander, could do some things. Again, 36 saves, 1.53 ERA. It would be great to plug him in the back half, because, again, I think Tanner Scott's role They're paying him as a closer, but I think he's more of a seventh, eighth inning guy. I think he'll have a lot more success in that area. Of course, we always ask you to be part of the show here on Dodgers Latest. We love your comments. And yeah, man, how about this one? I'm with you, brother. Build up the bullpen, more relievers and closers. Yeah, that's the way to do it. I mean, that's the way the Dodgers have that's the success that the Dodgers have run it out there. You run out there 15, 16, 17 pitchers, and then you mix and match as you will. I think we saw, the development of Robleski, especially in the postseason. I think he's a valuable spot starter, valuable long man in the bullpen. I think he's really, I think, grown in my eyes. Emmett Sheehan, I think we don't know what Emmett Sheehan, right? One day he looks great, one day he looks awful, and of course the kids and Gavin Stone and River Ryan, their stories is yet to be written. Another one from Tommy. I agree. We also have to remember how much talking about the bullpen, were used in the first half because of the injuries that stacked up. Led the ML in innings pitched. Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing that, for as hard as we are on the Dodgers bullpen, and they deserve it, they deserve the criticism, is they pitched a lot, especially in that first half. I mean, remember, Snell missed, 4 months of the season. Glasnow was down. The only guy who went from pillar to, wire to wire was Yamamoto. Even Ohtani took, a while to stretch him out. When Ohtani was starting, remember, he would pitch 2 innings, 3 innings, and then it turned into a 7-inning bullpen game. So, yeah, they did get worked out a lot, but they also didn't come through. But at the end of the day, they won a World Series. But I think the bullpen is going to be an intriguing factor. Would love to hear where they should use guys, where guys should be in the rotation bullpen-wise. And, of course, what about Devin Williams? Is that somebody you'd be interested in? Remember to hit me up, J-Rod Show X, and on Instagram. That's where you can find me. And, of course, right here on Dodgers Latest. Like, subscribe, share, hit that algorithm, pound that like button, and, of course, give me those 2 thumbs up every time you can. I'm Jim Rodriguez, Bullpen. Who's getting the call? Well, it's always time for a call. A beer, Vegas, spring training, and it's always time for Dodger baseball.